Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Maybe some smaller kartals. I'll play them soft. Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamunati Ravanachari. Yamunati Ravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamunati Ravanachari. Yamunati Ravanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Om Gyana Tikananda Shaganandana Shalakaya Chakshurumanitabhyena Tajmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Danti Swam Badantikam. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. My name is Nandini Devi Dasi, and I've been ushered up here to try and give class. And I'm a disciple of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and I'm a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we are reading from the... I just had this eye surgery, so I'm going to do my very best here. Let's see, we've got assorted glasses. Let's see what this says. Okay, well, sparkles. Okay, so I guess we are reading from the talks between Lord Caitanya and Ramananda Roy, and we are on text 138. Let's see if I can read some Sanskrit here. Vrindaveya prakata nivana manda kama gayatri kama bija yena upasana. And word for word, Vrindavane, in Vrindavan, aprakata spiritual, nivinanu mandana kupid, Kam Gayatri, hymns of desire, Kam Bija, the spiritual seed of desire called Klim Yanra, of whom Upanasa worship. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the spiritual realm of Vrindavan, Krishna is the spiritual ever-fresh Cupid. He's worshipped by chanting the Kam Gayatri mantra with the spiritual seed Klim. Purport. In Vrindavan, it is described in the Brahma Samhita in this way. Shri Rakanta Kata Purama Purasa Kalpatravo Druma Bhumi Chintamani Ganyamaya Toyamrita Kattagana Nityam Kamana Vamsa Priya Shakti Chid Ananda Jayota Parama Apatu Apisanti Yatra Kirshabi Shridai Surabisa Sumanha Nima Shakkaraho Vavritaha Nihayapa Samaha Bhaje Svedipatam Mahamita Galokahitayam Vidashate Santa Krishi Virala Charakatapi. The spiritual realm of Vrindavan is always spiritual. The goddess of fortune and the gopis are always present there. Their beloved Lord Krishna and all of them are equally spiritual like Krishna. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the supreme person and is the husband of the gopis and the goddesses of fortune. The trees in Vrindavan are wish-fulfilling trees, and the land is made of touchstone, and the water is nectar. Words are musical vibrations, and all movements are dancing. The flute is the Lord's constant companion. The planet Goloka Vrindavan is self-luminous like the sun and is full of spiritual bliss. The perfection of life lies in tasting the spiritual ecstasy. Wow, so awesome. The perfection of life lies in tasting the spiritual existence, and therefore everyone should cultivate its knowledge. In Vrindavan, spiritual cows are always supplying spiritual milk. Not a single moment is wasted there. In other words, there is no past, present, or future, and not a single particle of time is wasted. Within this material universe, the devotees worship the transcendental abode of Goloka. Lord Brahma himself said, "Let me worship the spiritual land where Krishna is present." The transcendental this transcendental Vrindavan is not appreciated by those who are not devotees or self-realized souls, because this Vrindavan Dham is all spiritual, and the pastimes of the Lord there are also spiritual. None are material. According to the prayer of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Hare Kabanita Charakanda Karuna Habe Samsar Visana More Kabe Tushahabe. When will Lord Nityananda have mercy upon me so that I can realize the uselessness of material pleasure? Vaisha Chadai Kabe Surahabe Mana Kabe Hamahare Vara Shri Vrindavana. When will my mind be cleansed of all the spiritual dirt, so I will be able to feel the presence of spiritual Vrindavan? Rupa Raganatha Pade Habe Akuti Kabe Hama Bujaba Se Yugala Priti. When will I be attracted to the instructions of the Goswamis, so that I will be able to understand what is Radha and Krishna and what is Vrindavan? These verses indicate that one first has to be purified of all material desires and all attraction for fruitive activity and speculative knowledge if one wishes to understand Vrindavan. When will that day be mine? In reference to the words aprakta navina madana, aprakta refers to that which is the very opposite of material conception. The Mayavadis consider that this to be zero or impersonal, but this is not the case. Everything in the material world is dull, but in the spiritual world, everything is alive. The desire for enjoyment is present in both in Krishna and as parts and parcels of living entities. In the spiritual world, such desires are also spiritual. No one should mistakenly consider such desires to be material. In the material world, if one is sexually inclined and enjoys sex life, he enjoys something temporary. His enjoyment vanishes after a few minutes. However, in the spiritual world, the same enjoyment may be there, but it never vanishes. It is continually enjoyed. In the spiritual world, such sex desire appears to be the enjoyer, to be more and more relishable with each new feature. In the spiritual world, however, sex enjoyment becomes distasteful after a few minutes only, and it is never permanent. Because Krishna appears very much sexually inclined, he is called the new Cupid in the spiritual world, and there is no material inebriety in such desires, however. Chaitanam Tvaitya Yashma Gayatri Tvam Tattva Smrita. If one chants the Gayatri mantra, he is gradually delivered from material clutches. That which delivers one from material entanglement is called Gayatri. An explanation of the Gayatri mantra is found in the Madhya Leela, chapter 21, text 125. Kam Gayatri mantra rupa, Haya Krishna sarupa, Shraddha Kaibasha askara tarahaya, Se askara chandrahaya, Krishna Kari Udaya, Trigat Kala Kama Maya. This mantra is just like a Vedic hymn, but it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. There is no difference between the Kam Gayatri and Krishna. Both are composed of 24.5 transcendental literatures. The mantra dictated in these letters is also Krishna. And the mantra rises just like the moon. Due to this, there is a perverted reflection of desire in human society and among all kinds of living entities. In the mantra, Klim Gayatri Deva Vande Pushpapaya Dimatanno Naga Prajodayat, Krishna is called Kamadeva or Madan Mohan, the deity who establishes our relationship with Krishna. And Govinda Papabana, who carries an arrow made of flowers, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who accepts our devotional service. Ananga or Gopijana Vallabha satisfies all the gopis and is the ultimate goal of life. The Kam Gayatri, Klim Kam Devaya Vidmahi Pushpabanya Dhimahi Tano Nanga Prachodayat, simply does not belong to this material world. When one advances in spiritual understanding, he can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his spiritually purified senses and fulfill the desires of the Lord. Manmanabhava magbhakto mayami mannaskruta mamme varsha satamate prajandate priyostima. Always think of me. Become my devotees. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Bhagavad Gita 8.65. And in the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Athavena ninadasha trayamurti mayagati spurati purveshashu mukhabanjana svayampana Gayatri Gayastama Anangaya Shayojaya Samskara Kari Karuna Divyajam Magadatamam Trayaya Prabhavotavadi Bhajanti Tatpasagaha Tatsva Veda Sarena Starotanena Keshavam. Then Gayatri, the mother of the Vedas, having been manifested by the divine sound of Krishna's flute, entered the lotus mouth of Brahma, the self-born, through his 8 ear holes. The lotus-born Brahma received the Gayatri mantra which had sprung from the song of Lord Krishna's flute. Thus he attained the twice-born status, having been initiated by the supreme preceptor, the primal preceptor, Godhead himself. Enlightened by the recollection of the Gayatri, which embodies the 3 Vedas, Brahma became acquainted with the expanse of the ocean of truth. Then he worshipped Sri Krishna, the essence of all the Vedas, with a Vedic hymn. The vibration of Krishna's flute is the origin of the Vedic hymns, and Lord Brahma, who is seated on the lotus flower, heard the sound vibration of Krishna's flute and was thereby initiated by the Gayatri mantra. This is the end of this particular beautiful, beautiful verse, text 138. Again, I'll just read the translation. In the spiritual realm of Vrindavan, Krishna is the spiritually ever-fresh Cupid. He is worshipped by chanting the Kam Gayatri mantra with spiritual seed klim. Namam Vishnumadaya Krishna Mishaya Bhutale Shrimate Namal Krishna Goswaminiti Namane. So I'll just, so much to comment here. So very beautiful. A couple of things that that come to my mind when reading all these amazing verses is how I was speaking with several devotees recently about their tours into Vrindavan, and how they see Vrindavan has changed so much since the early years. The first time I went was 1989 to Vrindavan, and it was a very different place. Nonetheless, it's Chintamani, the sacred footprints of Lord Krishna as he ran through the cowherd fields with the boys are still present in Vrindavan, although we may not have the purified eyes to see this, it is there. Nonetheless, there are high-rise buildings now, one after another, in Vrindavan. So many condominiums and high-rise places have been built. I saw a little bit of that last time I was in Vrindavan. That was in 2016. So I have to pray to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani that she'll allow me to go back again soon. But nonetheless, even though all these changes have come to Vrindavan since I was there in 1989, nonetheless, it is Krishna's eternal abode. And if we imbibe in that mood, and if we pray to Srimati Radharani to help me reveal Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, then we know that Vrindavan can never change. It's described that in Vrindavan, it's just like in Goloka, that there are palaces and spiritual gems, and everything is ever present in Vrindavan. But because we have material vision, we can't perceive all of these things that are there. But nonetheless, they are present, and the great acharyas tell us that they're present there. Whoops, sorry. Got lots of glasses here. Hare Krishna. So in reading this beautiful verse of the Caitanya Caritamrta, we see this one prayer which we read recently, so many beautiful prayers when Mathuranath gave this wonderful class at Nityananda's Appearance Day, how we can approach Lord Caitanya without the taking full shelter of Nityananda Prabhu, who is actually the spiritual master of the entire world. And so this verse again, when will Lord Nityananda have mercy upon me so that I can realize how useless this material condition is, so material pleasure is. So it's stated in this purport, this beautiful purport of Srila Prabhupada, how actually you can't perceive Vrindavan as long as you have material conditioning. And I think I commented, when will that day be mine? Because Prabhupada has also commented, I'm reading the second canto again in the Bhagavatam, and he's made many comments about how difficult it is to even chant properly or perceive Vrindavan or perceive Radha and Krishna until you're totally freed from material desires. So, I know that I have countless material desires, and I pray every time I'm chanting the holy name to free me from all these material desires. But they come, they are there. Attachment to grandchildren, and I remember Mahatma said, that's the last snare of Maya, he told me. So, but it is there, we are attached. So what can we do? What I do when I visit my grandchildren is I try to give them Krishna consciousness. My dear friend Adira, several years ago, people leave so many things in the prasadam hall, and they left these two little sets of Radha Krishna deities, and with small little deities, and they had all their clothes and all their crowns and everything. So when I visited Adira with Guru Prasad Swami, we went for his Vyasa Puja, she said, look, Nandini, I have these beautiful, deities of Krishna. Would you like one? And so I said, okay, I'll have those ones. So I brought those little Radha Krishna deities to San Miguel for my little granddaughter, Serja. Actually, I had them in my home altar first. And when she was coming, her mother said, she wants to come and see Krishna and take care of Krishna. So here is she was 6 years old. So I had those deities, and we put them on the little stand where I dressed my deities, and we bathed them. We did abhishek. She rubbed oil all over their bodies, and then she dressed them herself, and it was a very beautiful thing. So when I recently went to San Miguel, I have these little tiny quiet little clickers when I'm walking about in the parks to chant, finish my japa, and she loved this. So in the car, I actually recorded her, she chanted, so intently, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And I said, Serja, you can also sing when you chant the mantra. And so she said, Hare Krishna, over and over again for like 30, 40 minutes. It was very beautiful. So, and then Rezo, he's 2, he just turned 3, he says, Hare Krishna, Nani, Hare Krishna. So what can we do? We have these attachments to our children, but as you both have done with your beautiful little daughter, you're reading Bhagavatam to her, you're bringing her up as a beautiful devotee. Listen how she chants so beautifully. She chanted the Shringa mantra as we did books on the street and chanted yesterday. So this is how we this is how I do with my sons and my grandkids. Try to give them a little taste for the holy name. Tell them about Vrindavan. Tell them about Krishna. So we just visited Denver, and my older grandson, Logan Mark, he says to me, Nandini, Nani, all you do is talk about Krishna. Why do you always talk about Krishna? I said, why? Because Krishna is, just listen to that name, how attractive, Logan, that name is. And Krishna's so beautiful, and I had that big book. My Gayatri, Ganga did this book. It was on, do you remember this book? This giant book. It was done on raw silk, red silk. And it was a big art book with all the pictures of Krishna. So I brought that to Denver, and we marked all the pictures. And I remember Logan, the ones he liked were with all the dragons and all the, he liked all these ones. But this is how, somehow or another, to connect Krishna consciousness with our grandchildren and our children. My son, Keshava, and who lives in San Miguel, and Jairam, that lives in Denver, sent me just a very beautiful, heartfelt card. And Keshava said, this struck a chord, it made me cry. And my son, Jairam, said, thank you, Mom, because you always keep this spiritual thread in our lives, and I appreciate so much. So somehow or another, we're stuck in this material world. Some karma brought us here, some foolish desire. It's described since time immemorial. Now, that's a hard thing to grasp, isn't it? Conditioned since time immemorial. Long time, long time. So somehow or other we came here, and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of the spiritual master, my spiritual master, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, somehow or another we're blessed. I feel so grateful. I feel so very grateful. I mean, yesterday, this lovely little devotee, I just don't know her name, she's at Krishna House, and she was speaking with 3 people, 3 women. And I went over and interjected a few things and listened to her. And basically they were devout Christians. They'd come on a pilgrimage from other places to go to a spiritual Christian retreat. However, listening to her, she said, well, the new idea is that, meat is supposed to be, it's described that, you're supposed to have this in the new Bible says for, and she was going on and on about this. And so, they're devout Christians, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur praised Lord Jesus Christ, and many purports, Prabhupada honors Lord Jesus Christ. However, the point we tried to make with her, embrace your tradition. Embrace Allah, embrace, Prabhupada says that in many purports, embrace, but embrace and live your tradition. Do not cheat your tradition, live your tradition. And so she could not grasp the idea of compassion. She could not grasp the idea that there was a soul in all living beings. She couldn't grasp that. So that at that point, you just keep chanting and you think, well, she's heard the holy name over and over again, and that does not go unnoticed. That acts. It acts. So, at any rate, I'm just sharing some things that have touched my heart in my sojourn in spiritual life. And I'm reading, my husband and I are also reading this beautiful book by Madan Mohan Mohini, and Twice as Bright. And if you've not read this book, it is just so amazing. And at one point, the one we were reading last night, she was saying, sometimes I get off track, but I just pray and think, how can I please my Srila Prabhupada? How can I make him happy? And she pulls herself back. And so that's what I've done when I feel like I've gotten a little bit off track. I just pull myself back. I listen to my spiritual master's lectures, and so many great souls. Radhanath Maharaj, I listen to his lectures often. So by this process of hearing, it's very potent, very powerful. And even when we're at home with our Giriraj and our Gauranitai deities, we listen to lectures every single day and worship our deities. So this is how I pull myself up by my bootstraps. And so anyway, there's so much to say about this particular purport, and these are divine talks between Lord Krishna and Ramananda Roya. And so I would like to know if anyone, I just made a few little comments here that touched my heart, but yes, Prabhu?
First of all, thank you very much for your spontaneous class.
Hare Krishna.
So, my question is, Krishna says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, the leaders, the common people in general, common men, they follow the leaders. The leaders, they always teach to their action, examples. Leaders, they always teach through their actions, right?
Yes.
I must say, you are one such leader.
Oh, Prabhu, please.
You're an exemplary leader, because I see you have so much humility. I've never seen you finding faults with others. And the very fact that for the past 50 years you've been, married, right? And you've been practicing Krishna consciousness almost for the same number of years, right? 40 years. So my question is, what is the mantra, one mantra that you would like to give to all of us? We are like children in front of you. To carry on with so much of enthusiasm and humility and love, right? And what is your Guru Maharaj's contribution in bringing you to this point? Can you please explain about your journey?
Thank you, Prabhu. So, whatever I am, it is by the mercy of my spiritual master. And one thing that really struck me recently in a lecture I heard was that Srila Gurudev said, I'm not preaching anymore. This was in his later years. I'm not preaching anymore. I just like to find out about where people are and hear from them, and then if I can contribute anything, I will. And he described that he, if you all remember, I know Kunti, you do, when Gurudev left, top Christian, what was this Christian woman that came all the time? Do you remember? This,
She came all the time.
right, well, when Gurudev left Christians, the top Protestants, Muslims,
Talking about
Chri-
Elizabeth Esther.
Elizabeth Estrogen, but many, many, many of all different traditions came to honor him because he touched their lives. He didn't discriminate. He touched their hearts, and that is such an unconditional giver. No judgment, just giving unconditional love. And that was powerful when all of these people came. And I remember
It was the founders of the Thanksgiving Square.
that's
that
right,
all
because
came.
he spoke at Thanksgiving Square, and he networked in Thanksgiving Square with all of these great top religionists throughout Dallas-Fort Worth. And so he was an ocean of mercy to me and everyone. And he had the ability to just unconditionally love and give. So, if I could have embraced him, I would. But I did take the dust from his feet off, and then he let me do that. He did. So that was very special. So the only mantra I can say is he taught me to live without judgment and love unconditionally. And, I was born from Italian parents, so I am a hugger. I like to hug and embrace people and serve. I really, we had the restaurant in Puerto Rico for 10 years, and then we had a restaurant in Denver. In Puerto Rico, Indradyumna Swami came, Jayapataka Maharaj came. Who else came? Guru Prasad Swami came, and on our grand opening we had Mahatma, and we did a whole buffet outside, and people were dancing kind of salsa-like. Mahatma was even singing kind of a salsa Hare Krishna tune there. It was great, and it was very beautiful. So, somehow or another, Gurudev encouraged us to do prasadam distribution. So that's the course we took to serve him. But the only mantra I can say is that he was totally non-judgmental. He embraced everyone, God sisters, God brothers, people that he would meet anywhere. He had that unique and divine ability to know exactly where someone was at and relate to them from the highest to the lowest. So that's something I pray to be able to do in this lifetime. Yes. Yes, Uttama Adhikari, pure devotee of the Lord, unconditionally. So thank you very much for allowing me to just read this amazing purport and just give a little bit of comment. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai. Caitanya Charitamrta ki jai.